Hello everybody. I'm trapped in the airport right now in the middle of a very long delay. So I'm actually gonna try to record the video that I was talking about a couple days ago. So I got asked by some people on Facebook to say what it was like to be training for a flight attendant and things like that. So I'm just gonna talk about it for a little bit. So the training for the company I worked for, it took about 3.5 weeks. There was 3 actual weeks of like class time learning and things like that, and then about 4 days of an IOE, which is initial flying, like an initial operating experience, which is basically like you actively training on a flight with another flight attendant to do your job basically. But I'll start to talk first about the actual class time. So the class time works like this. Once you get the job offer, there's a several week time span where you won't hear anything, where they're running background checks and confirming whether or not you still want the job and things like that. Okay, had to switch locations for a second there. So yeah, as I was saying, so there'll be several weeks where you're not actually training or anything after you get your initial job offer. Once you do that, the company flies you out to wherever their training facility is. Ours is located in Appleton, Wisconsin. So for 3 weeks, I was in Appleton, Wisconsin, training to become a flight attendant. And the training process is very rigorous. There are 8 straight hours every day where you are literally in a classroom learning everything you would need to be a flight attendant. One of the main things you go over is your FAM, which is the flight attendant manual. This manual is a giant manual that differs for every company because they're airplane specific. Now, for some companies, FAMs only go over one plane and all the company guidelines and all the FAA regulations. For other companies, they go over several different planes, the FAA regulations, and a bunch of other stuff. Every day, you essentially go through the FAM, page by page, chapter by chapter, section by section, and they test you on this almost every singular day. And if you don't get a 90% or better on these tests, you are asked to go home. You get one chance to redo a singular test. Just one. And if you mess it up, that's it. You go home. I, unfortunately, in my class, had a really good friend go home because he could not get more than a 90% on one of his tests. And it was a very sad day. They brought him out in front of all of us, and we watched him leave the facility because he could not pass. And if anybody is thinking about becoming a flight attendant, do know this, that there is a lot of studying involved, and that you have to take the time to learn the material and learn your FAM and learn your regulations, because they will try to set you up to pass, but they are not afraid to fail you. They aren't. And you have to be very aware of that. So, another thing that you'll know once you actually go to training is that the airline will set you up in a hotel room. Now, it might differ from place to place, but the way they did it for our group was they set us up in a hotel room with a roommate. So, you and another flight attendant trainee get to be together in a room for this intense weekly periods of time where you get to know each other, you get to know the material, you get to learn the company. And it's really nice because you get to share your frustration and your aggravation with someone. And it's like you have a little friend, basically, to get you through the really tough days. Because there will be really tough days where you don't think that you can do this, but you can. And it is really nice to have a sounding board to know that you're not alone in all this, that you can do this. And everybody is going through these struggles who's doing this training with you. Another thing to learn about the training is, for the majority of it, you're not actually going to get on a plane. You're going to be in a room, at a table, doing tests, learning, writing stuff down, never stepping foot on a plane. In my training, it took 2 whole weeks before I even saw the plane I would be working on. 2 weeks in a classroom, getting tested, every day on materials about the plane, but I'd never seen it. So they would tell us stuff, and they'd be like, so this is the part of the plane where you'll do this. It'll make more sense when you're on the plane. And the entire time you're thinking, well, why aren't we just on the plane then? Like, why won't you put me on a plane? What sense does this make? But either way, it's going to be a really long time before you actually step foot on a plane. And once you do, everything will start to make sense. Because all the little things, all the tiny little intricacies only really make sense once you are on that plane. But once you are on that plane, trust me, it all clicks for the first time, and it's gonna feel really good. I'm gonna clear this out with one more thing, and then I want you guys to leave comments below on anything that you want me to expand upon, because I don't really want to do a giant overall video where I'm right here in the middle of the airport. I'll do that at a later time when I have more time to think about it. The last final thing is that when you go on an IOV, which is your initial experience, they put you there with a flight attendant who's a trainer. And the trainer is a flight attendant who's had a lot more experience and has been doing this for a really long time and knows exactly what they want to do every day. But just know that, any trainer for any job, the way that person does things may not necessarily be how you do things. You have to get comfortable with this job, and don't let what the trainer is saying freak you out. Because honestly, the training experience is 4 days. It's 4 days, maybe 16 to 20 flights all together, a bunch of random overnights. You're going to be nervous. You've never done this before. Hopefully you never have to do it again. And you just have to accept that this is going to be a brand new experience, and that things are going to be really complicated and difficult. It's going to be difficult the first time you ever have to do a service. The first time I ever did a service, I accidentally spilled a drink on somebody. It was embarrassing, and I felt really bad, but it was because I'd literally never done it before. And you have to get used to the fact that there are going to be things that you've never done before that you do for the first time on these planes, and that is why there is a learning curve. It's a fast curve, but it exists. And ask for help and take advice, because people want you to do well in this industry, and they know what they're talking about. That's all I really got for right now. I hope this video isn't trash. Thank you for everybody who came back to watch the second video. Bye.